Greetings, friends. I've traveled to 25 countries. I spent plenty of hours in the stratosphere. It's been a while since I traveled, but I remember all that time up in the clouds, staring out the window if I can. A lot of people, they don't take the time to stare out the window if they have a window seat. They just want to watch videos or listen to music, all of that stuff you can plug into. But I feel like you're kind of missing out, because it's a special thing to be able to experience being in a 747 in a place where we as ordinary humans have no business being. And the experience of being in an airplane makes me believe in God, because it makes you feel so small and insignificant and so helpless, and you think you're going to die at any moment, especially when it's taking off on the runway and when it's landing, because you only have the plane has about 10 seconds. And then if it's if it's 15 seconds, then you're all gonna die. Or if the landing goes a little unsmoothly, then the whole plane could be ripped to shreds. So especially at the taking off and landing phase, when you're up in the air and there's no turbulence, it's easy to forget that you're in this really crazy place, but humans have no business being there. I just wanted to share that brief idea with you. Travel itself, apart from being in an airplane, also makes me believe in God. Like, how did I survive? All the things that could make me sick, all the things that can go wrong. You stop thinking about that. And I know I talk about how you shouldn't pray for specific things because God works in His own way, but I'm praying to keep that plane in the air. I'm praying that I'm going to get to where I need to be. I'm praying that I don't get sick when I get to where I am. Travel, and specifically in being in airplanes, it should make you feel small, insignificant, and very, very lucky. I've spent dozens of hours in the stratosphere, flying across the Pacific, flying to South America, or flying across Africa, where, enough time over the years that it's like a place, it's like a landscape when you're over the clouds, because it almost looks Arctic. You're in a landscape of ice, and the clouds, they have structure too. They have form as well. I mean, once you go through them, you see there's no real form there, but certainly once you're above them, there is a form there. It is a landscape. It is a hostile, dangerous, menacing landscape that we put all our trust in the captains. We put all our trust in a few people. It should show us how helpless and incapable the average human is. We have the internet, we have all this technology. None of us would be able to get us out of a tight situation if the pilots died. We would all go down with the plane. We wouldn't know. Maybe there's some technology, the computer could save us, but that wouldn't be us. So we may have these airplanes, internet, all this other technology. In many ways, we're even more helpless and useless than our ancestors would have been, because they had more practical skills. They could build houses, they could cook their own food, they could hunt their own food and do all these things. Now, I'm an advocate of a capitalist society. I believe we can get more things done when we rely on others and focus on what we really enjoy most. But having said that, you always have to have the gratitude. You always have to realize and keep the big perspective that we are just so small and insignificant. So many things can go wrong. Being in an airplane is terrifying in some sense. I know you're going to laugh and say it's not terrifying. In some sense, it is terrifying. Even though I've done it many times, I'm always praying to keep the plane in the air. All the things that can go wrong. Imagine your life. You've got all these things on your mind. I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. It can all go wrong because the plane can go down. And imagine how terrifying that would be. The plane is going down. You have nothing else to do. Then you're going to have to face God. Then you're going to have to face the Creator, because you're going to have time to think. You'll have about a minute or maybe a few minutes before it gets ripped to pieces. Who knows imagine if it's going down in the ocean and you know that there's nothing but bleakness down there. I mean, what was that, the Malaysian Airlines flight that went off, headed for the South Pole and disappeared in the middle of, disappeared somewhere in the South Indian Ocean? Imagine what that would be like. Some crazy pilot took over the plane. So it should be a humbling experience. You have to have that gratitude. I believe that having that gratitude was important. God was always looking after me. And I have not traveled in some years now, and it is a stressful, terrifying, humbling experience. And don't tell me, oh, you're more likely to die in a car accident than you are to die in an airplane. Obviously, I know that, but it has a different effect on us when we're in an airplane, or at least it does for me, maybe not for everyone else, because you can see how dangerous it is just by looking out the window, but we're more habituated to cars. It's like the same thing people dismiss terrorist attacks. They say, oh, well, you're more likely to die in a car accident than to be killed by a terrorist. Even though a terrorist attack obviously has a much more profound effect on society, because this is the presence of evil. This is a deliberate act, not just a random occurrence. It's like, whereas when you're in the airplane, you need God, because this is just such a ridiculous situation. When it comes to terrorism, it's like there's a presence of evil here. So this is not entirely a rational thing. This is our subjective experience, or maybe for some people, for me. Hasta luego, amigos.